My name's Dawn Imbrogno, and I teach the ACT program at Olentangy Academy. ACT stands for Academy for Community Transition, and we support students with disabilities from our district that are learning job skills out in our community. We have many community partners such as Panera, Mount Carmel Fitness Center, the Delaware Public Libraries, and many, many more. Students come to us to learn daily living skills, job skills, independent living skills, and how to access their community more independently. This program, we're in our 6th year. Prior to ACT, I taught the Specialized Learning Center at Liberty High School for 9 years.
About the students in the program. So they enter after they finish 12th grade. Then where do the students go after they've been through the program?
Sure. So they have to obtain their credits necessary for graduation. They defer their diplomas and they come to us. There's no set requirement for amount of time they spend with us. It's really based on their individual goals and the progress they make. They do age out the semester they turn 22, and everybody has a different path. I mean, just like any other typical student in the district, our students all have their own goals and things that they want to pursue after school. Some of our students are able to go into become competitively employed. We've had students hired at Panera, Topgolf, Worthington Christian Village, just on and on. We've had some great success with our students working independently. Some students need supported employment. That's where we partner with the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities and OOD, that's Opportunities for Ohioans with Disabilities, and they provide that support, a permanent job coach, so our students can work independently in the community, or mostly independently. And then we also have students that leave our program to go to adult day programming. So what we do with to help those students is just help them increase their independence and the likelihood that they're successful at those programs after they leave the ACT program. Well, early on in the program, we started with a blank slate. We started with an empty classroom. I mean, I have a picture of me standing in my empty classroom with nothing but a phone on the floor, right? So we were building from the ground up, literally. And to really give our students the hands-on experience, real-world experience, we really needed some equipment and tools that far exceeded a typical classroom budget. So we applied for an OEF grant to get some, like a commercial shredder and a paper folding machine and some other things that we can teach basic clerical skills within the classroom. So that was our first grant, and that was a great success. Students learned a lot. We did some jobs for teachers within our building, but within other school buildings in our district, and then eventually out in the community, we have some students working for Delco Water, doing some clerical work over there. A couple years later, I co-wrote a grant with a teacher from the OASIS program to purchase a t-shirt press to make t-shirts. So they handled more of the business end of it and the orders, and my students helped package and fill orders. And that was a great hands-on experience that both programs benefited from. And then most recently, we wrote a grant for a program called Valemi. It's a fitness program for individuals with disabilities to learn lifelong fitness skills. So once we realized we weren't going to be able to get out in the community this year, we needed to figure out how to bring the community and those experiences to us. So we wrote that grant, and we received a grant from OEF, and we have the equipment, we've been trained, we have an app to track student progress, and students in our program are exercising weekly now. So OEF has greatly benefited, we've greatly benefited from OEF and the grants that we've received.
Great. So my name is Jessica Timmons, and I teach at Orange High School. And this is, gosh, I always lose track. This is my 16th year teaching, but my 11th, will be my 11th next year, a 10th in the district. And I started by teaching middle school in Sarasota, Florida, and I taught at Orange Middle School for 1 year. And a lot of other things happened. Like I got the varsity volleyball job and other stuff. And that's why I came to the high school, because I felt like I needed to be where my student athletes are. So, but I've been teaching AP Environmental Science, and it's my baby. I love it so much because I love the kids, and we have so much fun doing all sorts of labs and projects together. So
tell me about how you became involved with OEF.
So when I was in Sarasota, Florida, we had a very similar education foundation down there. And especially like, your first couple years teaching, you're just overwhelmed and intimidated. And in Sarasota, the program, the education foundation, I was able to get I got grants every single year. And it was fantastic because in Florida, you didn't have student fees that you could use to purchase, consumable materials and whatnot. And so I was able to get so many hands-on things for my students there that when I came here, I was like, oh, Education Foundation, I know what they do. And so I just took a crack at it. And I've just been so grateful because the nice thing about the lab supplies I was able to buy with your grant money, I can use in biology, I can use in my anatomy class, and I can use them for years. It's not just a one-time, thing. And so it's as an environmental science plug, it's sustainable. So I keep using the materials that you give me. And then I also can use them in other ways and how they're designed. So you've helped me stretch that $1,500 grant so far.
That's awesome. What would the your classroom look like with versus without that grant?
Without, my husband would probably kill me because I'd have to spend my own money to buy a ton of things. I have done this because I'm outside a lot. If people are throwing away a fish tank, I'll go snag them. And so I kind of piecemeal stuff together. I've actually gone and asked, Lowe's and some other places for donations for things that I can do to enrich my classroom. So it would make my job much more difficult to provide an engaging and enriching classroom if I did not have the supplies that you guys were able to provide.
What kind of stuff did you get with your grants?
Oh my gosh. So I got all these lab kits that certain school supply companies or whatnot, I think it was Carolina Biologicals where I got it from, but they would sell these lab kits that you could use for all the different content within your AP courses. So they have one specifically designed for AP Bio, AP Environmental, AP Physics. And so I got 10 lab kits and I still use them. That's what's really cool is I can go buy, with the student fee money, I can go buy the replacements, the tabs for water quality testing. We do soil testing. We actually collect soil from around the community and I go and report the results. The farm over here on the corner, I asked them for topsoil, then I went back and gave them the data. Stuff that we can use over at Alum Creek State Park, where we collect information on biodiversity. We report that data back to Alum Creek. That way they can use it as part of their research and whatnot. But just everything, air quality tests, soil, water quality tests. I do stuff with ocean acidification now. It helps bring the content. It gives the kids a foundation and it makes it relevant because they're actually doing science. They're not just talking about it. One of the reasons why I wrote it was because I got asked to teach AP Environmental Science, which I was super intimidated by.
Uh-huh.
Because, at that point, I hadn't taught an AP class. I'd never even taken an AP class because it wasn't offered because I'm old, at my high school when I was a kid. So I was like, oh my gosh, these are all the super smart kids and they're going to be smarter than me. And I have all this pressure now because, college is expensive. And if I can help them pass that AP test, then I feel like it's a win-win, I feel like I'm doing a good job. They're going to be happy because they get college credit and have to pay for it. But my background, I had started teaching in Sarasota, Florida. I taught International Baccalaureate Multi-Age Gifted. And so we just had a ton of supplies and activities. And plus it's Florida, you can be outside all the time. And so when I got asked to teach this class, I was like, I need hands-on stuff. because I had noticed from teaching, I went from, like I said, middle school to high school. And in the middle school, kids still ask the question, why? And at high school, I feel like they're just like, just tell me the answer. I'm too tired. I just don't, the creativity feels like it's been beaten out of them. And so I wanted to do stuff that was, with inquiry and getting them to drive the research and have hands-on, because nobody ever thinks that like a worksheet is life-changing. A kid's never like, that worksheet was amazing. They think like, oh my gosh, that activity was so cool, and you frame it in a way. What I love about labs is that you can frame it where you can use it to introduce the topic. You can get them hooked. You can do it in the middle of a unit to reinforce, or you can do it at the end to actually assess them. And so having those options was just a godsend that I was able to have that from the grant that you guys provided.
And one last question. If there was an unlimited bucket of money and you could make a request for some pie in the sky something, what would that be?
Set of iPads for my students to basically, I wanted them to create their own, like, kind of a portfolio for the corps, and so they could actually go through and see all the things that they've made and done and learned about, and have it in like a chronological order of the year, and then they could use that to help them study, because I don't really like making copies of things because trees, but also you have to meet kids where they are, and they're always on their phones. So I've designed stuff with like review with Instagram, but having the kids actually create stuff, like taking pictures of the iPads, embedding them into lab reports, like I don't even know how much that would cost, but that would be amazing. So
we have a space in our building we're slowly, bit by bit, making into a kitchen. I mean, we have an oven, and we have a sink and a dishwasher. We have miniature washers and dryers that we plug into the sink. If that space could be transformed into a true life skills lab, full-size washer and dryer, a true kitchen, things where we can really work on independent living skills. A lot of our students do want to move out and live independently, and they'll have agency support or parent support, but that's one area where we really we're not able to provide as much hands-on because of the equipment and things that we don't have right now. We're not in the high schools have some life skills labs and things like that. We don't have that at Olentangy.